doing a traditional Shakespearean comedy. We're playing it a little more, almost like a sitcom that you would see on TV. Don Pedro, our Herb here, is in a gopher costume.
Sweet.
Because he is pretending to be Claudio. Gabe, our Benedict, is in a flapper dress with heels, a wig, and a mask. It's gonna be amazing. Christian is dressed up like Chiquita Banana with a fruit hat. Occasionally this show is done as a drama, even though it's written as a farce.
I will get a tattoo for this show.
I think that
just the lines down the back of my legs.
That is approved. Talk with the producer.
We are not paying.
I need money for stocking tattoos.
So if you have this show performed more in the style of Monty Python or Faulty Towers.
Get him! He has an excellent stomach.
Keep going! Get him!
Good soldier too, lady.
And a good soldier too, lady.
Yes!
What is this reward?
You really are embracing the humor that Shakespeare really wrote for at the time. He wrote this as the primetime television of that time frame.
Strike up, Pipers!
Everyone was allowed to come and see the show. Everyone could relate to the show. That's why it still has stood the test of time.
I think that the way that we have adapted it has made it really easy for ourselves and the audience to understand what's going on with the show.
Shakespeare's taken in a reverence by a lot of people. They hold Shakespeare up, but they put it on a pedestal. And what Meredith's done is bring it back to its core, which is entertainment for the masses.
Just not only verbal comedy, but physical comedy. You know, people are coming with maracas and they've got cheeky banana suits, and it's funny and it's genuine and it's real and it's fun.
If you have seen Shakespeare and you don't feel like you liked it and it wasn't a comedy, then you haven't really seen Shakespeare, I don't think.
Well, okay, thanks for coming to rehearsal, everyone. I'm out. I'll see all of y'all later.
Our cast is fantastic. You have people that are brand new to being on stage. You have people that have taken a decade, maybe two, off of stage.
I had like the subs for lunch, and I still have the onion.
Did you go to Subway? Because I work there and I'm used to it. It's okay.
They are coming with their own talents. They're coming with their own sense of humor, and they're running with it so beautifully, and the humor clicks.
I'm sorry, I have cleanliness.
They're freaking awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm very nervous.
There's some Shakespeare where the language is so high and it's so heavy that it's hard to understand the context and what's going on. This show, the language has levels. Yes, you have some characters that do speak very high, but you also have those characters where it's just like their physicality and what they're saying and their tone speaks volumes for it. So even if you don't understand the words, you understand the intent. You understand what's going on in the scene.
Y'all giving me the feels over here. I'm sorry. It's good. It's good. That's what you're supposed to do.
It is my very first time doing Shakespeare.
Oh, that I were a man. What bear her in hand until they come to take hands, and then, with public accusation, uncovered, slandered, unmitigated rancor. Oh God, that I were a man.
Once you sort of get the idea of how the words flow and the language itself, it's not too hard, and once you have the lines memorized, it sort of flows right off the tongue and it sounds natural and it feels natural.
When you're saying that, oh God, I was a man, I want you to think and say these lines, instead of saying them like from up here or from here, say them from your hips. For right now, you just spoke everything with your heart, and you're typically guided by your hips, just because like everything, like Leonardo's always trying to make you more feminine when this is more of a masculine energy. Right before you do the, oh God, that I were a man, I want you to take that bouquet and like point it at him almost like you're wielding it like a sword.
Oh God, that I were a man. What? Bear her in hand until they come to take hands, and then with public accusation, uncovered, slander, unmitigated rigor. Oh God, that I were a man. I would ass out in the marketplace.
I've done Shakespeare competitions. This is my first show, and it is fantastic.
If it proves so, then loving goes by haps. Some cupids kill with arrows, others with traps.
The memorizing the lines is a little tough, but who doesn't love Shakespeare?
Mine so much that I myself was too much to myself. Wait, what?
Everyone thinks it's the lines, and the people are like, oh, I don't think I can memorize all those lines. That's not the biggest part of Shakespeare. That's not the hardest part about it. What comes hard is reading them naturally on stage and sounding organic. And that's something that this cast has has really taken by the horns.
When you say that line, say like thou and I are too wise to woo peaceably, say that almost like you're saying I love you. That's where this turns from us being joking with one another to where the love story is here.
I will not love that which my friend hates.
You and I are too wise to woo peaceably.
With the talent we have on stage, with the amount of fun that everyone's having, it becomes a universal language, being able to see it. It's not just Shakespeare, it's just fun.
Everybody's fun.
How doth the lady?
Oh, Jesus. Wait, get the giggles out real quick, and then we'll go into this heavy scene. So I've always had a major fascination with World War II era and immediately what happened after it.
Our show is set in the 1940s, shortly after the war, and so it's very pin-up style and big band.
And have this as a way of honoring our military in a way that you wouldn't expect because it's through Shakespeare.
If thou dost never fall from this state, thou wouldst prove a notable argument.
If I do, hang me in a bottle, like a cat, and shoot at me.
I did this show before in high school, and the direction she's taking it is absolutely my favorite so far.
So many strange dishes. Shall I be so converted and see with these eyes?
It actually fits the text incredibly well, remarkably well.
And I think it's something that people are going to identify with, and they would connect with it more versus someone being like, oh, thou, back in the old days.
Braden will be Peter Pan. So if we can just get you in something that's like a ballet flat, something whatever fit.
Dye my hair red for that one scene.
No. It just fits this show and the personality of this cast as well. They are really enjoying having fun with that time period.
At this session now when she's beginning to write again. For she'll be up 20 times a night, and there in her swamp will she sit till she has writ a sheet of paper.
One of our main things that we talked about when we first started out on this was we wanted to focus on the process.
Yes.
Many productions that you come across at this theater and at any theater you go into is you're always looking at the end product. And if I'm leading as I walk with my head, it makes me walk a certain way. Then if I'm leading and if I'm in love and I'm going over to someone I love, you kind of float because you're leading more with your chest. We knew we loved theater and we always have and we always would. So our entire process has really been focused on why we're doing what we're doing, how we're doing what we're doing, and how it's received. One of y'all is gonna pick up the dirty bottles and stuff and all the bunting that's there. Helen Mary Dogberry is going to not do it. She's going to point at it and someone else is going to do it.
Being gone from New Bern for a little while now and coming back bigger and better than ever. I'm really excited and really thankful that I got the opportunity to do this.
This is my first show in 4 years. When I auditioned, I freaked out almost, not even hearing my part because I was so happy to be acting again. It's been all about the journey, the friends I've made here, unreplaceable, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
One more time!
You won't remember your lines from now. You won't remember what costume you wore. Sometimes you won't even remember the name of the character you played, but you'll always remember it's hey, I had a fun time doing that show.
And that's what keeps people coming back to volunteer and help. It's having those good times and having those great experiences.
And I'm so happy that I have formed a family that I can come in here and see, and they want to see me, and we can just laugh and joke and have a good time. I don't know where else you'd find that besides theater, so.
They're so good, y'all.
Okay, I will